Welcome back to the RV Rundown. I'm your host, Barry, and today I have the all-new 2023 Thor Motor Coach Sequence 20A. This is an awesome little Class B van. It's built with small families in mind. It has a sky bunk up top to expand the sleeping capacity. And this is one of these serious road warrior machines. It's built on that Ram ProMaster chassis with a V6 3.6 liter Pentastar engine. I think it's really cool. It's got a lot of other great features. We're gonna check them out. Now, what I absolutely love about these Class B vans is how much they can pack into a small space. I'm starting at the back of this sequence because this is the main sleeping compartment, and it has a few tricks up its sleeve. As you can see, we have a giant pull-out bed. This does convert. It has a weird dimension to it. It's bigger than a queen, but smaller than a king, so it is a good size for a couple of people to sleep on. To get it to give you a little more space for moving around back here, this cushion just slides up and over. You can grab the center, and it's on ball bearing drawer glide, so it just slides right back and stashes away. That gives us this big aisle that we can push through and access our storage features that are back here. We have drawers down low, pass-through storage cabinets down there as well, and up top, we have these beautiful high-gloss European-style cabinets. They're hinged so that they stay open, making it easy to get into your stuff. They act almost like a cool gull-wing door. They've got that soft close mechanism to it that just gives it a really overall high-quality feel. Back here, we also have built-in sound systems, so our speakers are up top. We've got some little reading lights for whoever happens to be in the bed. And on top of that, the main AC is in the back here as well. This can run off of the inverter system on the engine, or it can run off of shore power. It's enough to freeze you out of this van. It's high powered. It puts out a lot of cold air. Now, some of you might be noticing I'm real close to the ceiling. I'll remind you, I'm 6'3". I'm a tall guy. They say that the internal height of this is 6'3", and I believe them because when I stand up straight, my head kind of rubs on it. Luckily, it's soft touch, so that means it's padded, and that's going to keep me from bumping my head on the back here. I want to check out some other cool features in the kitchen, so let's flip around. Space is definitely at a premium inside these Class B RVs. You find yourself in tight spaces like this kitchen where they've tried to get everything in, all the amenities from home. And they succeed. It just, again, it feels a little snug, but you can get the job done here. You can cook a meal. We've got this great countertop here. It's solid surfaced. It gives us plenty of prep space. They've added these sink covers, again, just extending that space to give us more room to get things done. A decently deep single basin stainless steel sink here with a nice high-rise faucet is going to allow you to fill pots and pans and clean them up with ease. We have a cool little tower here that has both USB ports and GFCI outlets. It hides away by simply clicking a button and allowing it to go down into the counter space. Next to that, we have our 2-burner gas stove. This runs off the LP on board, and we can run this without having power on in the van. That's kind of neat. Cooking is always an option. Up above, we have a microwave that's next to some more of that European-style storage cabinetry. Down low, you'll see that we have 3 drawers that are up under the sink. They're nice and big on big drawer glides, so they come in and out with ease. And next to that, we have our refrigerator. It does have a small freezer compartment in there as well. That pretty much wraps up this kitchen. As you can see, there's not much to it, but it's everything you need to make a small meal. Right across from it, we have our wet bath. The wet bath is unique in the sense that there's not a lot of space there, but again, we're pushing everything into one place. So there's a cassette toilet down low, a fold-out sink that's behind it. We have a wand that can either be switched off and on for water to shower with, or a sink head that can be swiveled out and turned on. And then up high above all of that, we have a medicine cabinet with a mirror, so shaving in the morning can be done, or just fixing up your hair, whatever you need that mirror for to get ready. It's right there. It is a tight space. When the door shuts, there's not a lot of room to maneuver left over, but it's well thought out and it's got everything in there that you could possibly use. Next to it, we have an extra bit of storage in the form of some vertical cabinetry here. This one is actually set up to be a closet, but I could see easily adding some shelves in there to make a makeshift pantry if the closet wasn't as important to you. Let's push to the front of the vehicle and check out the living space. Now, the main living space here in the sequence is really kind of comprised of our forward two cab seats that swivel around and face the back of the camper. We've got an additional 2 seats on a bench here. All 4 of these comprise the seat belts in the van, so this is where your 4 passengers would sit when traveling down the road. Obviously, these would be spun facing forward at that point, but as it sits, this makes for a nice little living room setting, and we've got a few cool things going on. We've got storage up above my head in 2 places, more of that Euro style cabinetry. There's a little table here that folds out and up to give us a spot to eat or play a card game, just to maybe even work on a laptop at the end of the day. They've put plugs and USB ports down low. In addition to that, there's even a GFCI plug behind the passenger seat on the kitchen island there. All in all, this is a really cool space. They've even incorporated the TV up high, and that's on a swivel mount, so it can come out and turn and face in a couple of different directions, giving us access to that TV from multiple places in the RV. Above me, we have the entrance to our sky bunk. We have a little ladder that folds out and hooks to it, and it allows us to go up into the tent above the van from inside the RV. Let's set it up and check it out. Popping up into our sky bunk, you can see that we've actually got a lot of space up here for a rooftop tent. It opens up pretty easily. We push a button and then give it a little shove, and springs will drive the whole fiberglass roof up into the air. It's got a great little padded ceiling inside, so if you do smack your head on it, it's not going to hurt that bad. Awesome panoramic views thanks to these 3 large windows with bug screens. That'll let a great breeze pass through here. We can close those off and capture some of the AC. We've even got a big skylight up above me. This can open up for air to flow, or it can be closed off for shade. But what's important is that this is one of our only sources of light when we put up all of our privacy shades inside the van. So it's a great placement for that skylight. There's also other little things like USB ports and night lights in here, and a little spot to set a drink or a small few items at the end of the evening if you happen to be sleeping up top. I think it's a great space. The inner kid in me wants to spend the night up here. Let's pop back down and check out the control panel. As soon as we step through the sliding door into the main cab, we have our primary control panel on the left. It's a touchscreen system. That said, though, they've put in some actual buttons at the bottom that will get the lights up and on if you're coming home in the dark. The touchscreen panel itself has a menu system that we can flip through to monitor all of our electric, all of our different things like awnings and temperature settings and all the individual lights, as well as monitoring some of our electrical and solar. It also has our access to power up the bathroom fan from here too. You can do that from the bathroom, but I can also do it out here. Kind of a neat trick. This is all Bluetooth enabled as well, which means you can run everything that you see on this menu system on your phone. Directly behind that, we have a few different gauges on the wall. What these are our Truma hot water / forced air heating system. This, if we click into it, allows us to turn on and off our water heater, as well as control the heat inside of the cab. Here we have our battery bank recognition system. So this is telling us what's going on with our batteries. Keep in mind, you can monitor this through the Bluetooth app as well. There are two 100 amp hour lithium house batteries on board here. Those are tied into a 3000 watt inverter, and there's a 190 watt solar panel on the roof tying it all together, making this an awesome little boondocking machine. Now for 2023, they've gotten rid of the onboard generator, but that's not a bad thing because they've added a second alternator to the engine and tied it back to that massive inverter, giving us multiple ways to power this guy up off grid. Pretty cool. And then last but not least, we talked about that 3000 watt inverter and 190 watt solar panel. This is just the charge controller that monitors that station for us. Let's take a look at some of the driving features in the cab. I love the amount of tech that's been crammed into this cockpit. There's a great display on the dash that's digital. It has all the information you could possibly need and more. You can siphon through it with some of these control panels that are built into the steering wheel. And the spec sheet told us that we were getting a 7-inch interactive touchscreen display. But we pulled out a tape because this is a 10-inch display and it has CarPlay and Android Auto built into it. I've got my phone hooked up to it now. It's very seamless and easy to interact with, just like your phone, making that a very stress-free experience when you're driving. Even down low, I've got mine powered by USB right now, but there is a wireless charging station specifically designed to handle a large array of different size phones. It even has a little port at the bottom where you can bring your power cord up to it. There's no shortage of cup holders here. They're on my left and my right. There's storage up above, plenty of ways to block out the sun. And because we're right up on those front wheels, visibility is amazing. The windows in here allow me to see all the way around this thing, so I don't think driving this is going to be an issue at all. I'm 6'3". I've got really long legs. The adjustability of the seat and the telescoping steering wheel allows me to have plenty of knee room. I've got plenty of space for my elbows to sit down, and my passenger even has space for their feet, which is not something we typically see in these Class B vans. All that said, I think this is an amazing use of space. I think that Ram has gone a long way in upgrading the inside of these cabs. I like it a lot. Let's fire it up and go for a drive and see how she handles. Driving the Sequence is not an experience unlike driving any other large vehicle. So with a 13-foot 3-inch wheelbase, I reckon it to be similar to like a quad cab F-150 in the way that it turns. Now, being a large van, it's a little top heavy, so it definitely has a little bit of wobble back and forth, but I expect that out of any motorhome that I take out and drive. The V6 that's in it has plenty of pickup. It gets us out on the road fairly quickly. I enjoy that aspect of it. It has pretty good range. It's a 24-gallon tank, and we're talking about somewhere in the neighborhood of 300 miles, depending on how you're driving and where you're driving. Overall, everything feels nice. I love the way that the integrated Apple CarPlay and Android Auto system works with the giant touch screen. I like the digital dash display. It gives me lots of information that I otherwise wouldn't have, including up-to-date speed limit information about the road that I'm on. That's kind of a bonus. I don't know whether that's tied into CarPlay or something from just a feed that's already built into it. But it's a nice thing to have right there on the dash when you're looking down at your speed. Outside of that, we've got things like heated mirrors. that are easily adjustable at the flick of a button. I know that that's simple, but it is something that matters. This one's even equipped with lane keep assist. So when we hit a certain speed, we're going down the road, you can feel the steering wheel correct a little bit whenever we come up to a corner or push into the side of the road. I think that's really neat. It has cruise control. It's not the radar sensitive type, but it's a standard cruise control that works pretty well. It's great for just setting a pace on the highway and getting after it. I really like driving this thing. The only thing that's really kind of a bit of a detractor to me personally is the noises that it makes, but I'm willing to let that go because I've never driven any motorhome that didn't make a lot of noises here and there. The biggest noisemaker on this one is definitely the 2-burner gas stove. The glass top likes to click and clack onto the surface. We found that just throwing a small towel under it immediately resolved that problem. So I'm all right with that. We're about to pull up to our campsite where we're gonna jump out. We're gonna do an exterior walk around and check out some of the features outside of the Sequence 20A. Once we've found a campsite for our Sequence 20A, it's pretty easy to set up. I mean, you're practically just pulling in and parking. The only thing you may have to do, because it's not equipped with a leveling system, is carry some blocks with you to put under the tires to adjust its height left to right or front to back in a slightly unlevel site. Other than that, on the patio side, we can let out the awning at the touch of a button, giving us some shade and shelter out here. The awning legs can either attach straight to the ground or back to the vehicle itself. Either way, it works out. Pushing back to the back of the Sequence, we have a few outside power connections letting us run a laptop or a TV or whatever else we might want to power up out here. Small lights around our awning just to give our campsite a little bit more ambiance. Down below in the back, we have an LP Quick Connect. I really like this because it allows us to hook up a grill or a griddle or even a LP heater in the wintertime to keep that outside area warm. I think that's a very versatile thing. It's tied directly into the main LP tank on the RV. Let's push around to the back and check out some of the features there. At the rear of the RV, we've got a couple of noteworthy things going on. Up high and center is that backup camera we saw earlier. It comes standard with a 2-bike Thule bike rack. And inside, if we open this up, you'll notice that we have great access to the inner cab. Down low, we've got a 2-inch receiver. It's got 4-pin trailer wiring, so we can pull a small utility trailer or put an accessory rack on here. It even comes equipped with a Thule extendable ladder system that magnetizes to the side of the camper and allows us to set it up anywhere we want. Also back here, we've got power in the form of 12 volt and 110 out, a couple of switches, one that controls light, one that controls the water pump, which is important because they've included a spray port where we can automatically plug in a hose and hose off dirty bikes, boots, or even put up a privacy enclosure and take an outside shower. I think all of that is pretty cool for the back end of this RV. Let's close it up. Let's pop around to the driver's side and check that out. Here on the driver's side of the RV, right at the back, we see that we have most of our access points for hooking up in the campsite. There's a locking compartment door for the tank fill. I think that's kind of neat because no one can tamper with it. No one can dump anything down in there. Our city fill, which goes straight to the faucets with pressurized water, is right here. This is the back side of our water heater and exhaust for heat in our furnace. And then we've got a couple of other cool things going on. We've got prep for our cable TV in, so if the park offers that, it's right there. You can see down low, we've got our sewer out. Our main shoreline power connection and our propane refill is down low as well. As far as the motorized component of this vehicle, filling it up with gas happens right next to the driver door behind that flap. That's standard for these ProMaster chassis. Up top, You can see that we've got a clear view of that sky bunk in the down position for driving down the highway. You can see that it's that nice fiberglass finish up there, so it's going to last a long time. On top of that, we've got that 190-watt solar panel that we talked about inside. Guys, this pretty well wraps up the outside of the Sequence 20A. Let's pop into some final thoughts. I gotta say, after spending a little bit of time with the Sequence, that I really do love this Class B van. There's a lot of really cool things going on with it, but I don't think that it's for everybody. Its smallness, its lack of storage, and the little tanks that are on board with regards to freshwater and gray water and wastewater means that you can't be out for a super long time without some kind of real conservative management of your resources, or you have to be a solo party and not a party of four. I can see a small family just filling up in the waste tank and draining the fresh water out of this real fast in a boondocking situation. All that said, I do think this is really great for solo travelers or couples who are adventurous weekend warriors. So people who like to hike and mountain bike and go rock climbing or, things of that nature. This is awesome for them. They can throw in a little bit of gear, go to their destination, sleep the night of, air conditioned, in a little parking spot somewhere close by, get up the next day, start their adventure, and then come back to base. That is pretty cool. I can think of another example where this would be great is for people that have to go to the ballpark on the weekend and spend all weekend there. This gives them a home base, a place with a kitchen and a refrigerator. They can make sandwiches for the kids without ever having to leave. So there's a couple of use case scenarios here where this thing really does make sense. I think it's a super cool van. It's definitely worth checking out for yourself in person at Southern RV in McDonough, Georgia. We've got a few of those models in stock. I wish I could keep it longer, but I've got to return it to them so they can get it out on the sales lot. I really thank you guys for joining me and reviewing this camper. And until next time, y'all, happy camping.